I knew when I went to the desert that anyone who plays around with cactus is liable to get stuck. But I didn't remember that another way of saying death is going west.
This is another in the adventures of America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar. At insurance investigation, Johnny Dollar is only an expert. At making out his expense account, he's an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Old Caledonia Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Attention, Oscar M. Wheaton, Chief Investment Counsel. The following is an accounting of my expenditures during my investigation of suspected skullduggery in the Skull Canyon mine. Or, Mr. Bones, who was that lady I seen you with last night? Or, messing with a mule train is one good way to kick off. Expense account, item 1. 25 cents. Tip to busboy who brought telephone to my table at the Blue Danube restaurant, Robertson Boulevard, Los Angeles, where I happened to be working on a case. Your call came right after the liver dumpling soup, taking me out of the soup plate and putting me in the soup.
This is the story, Dollar. You make notes and don't interrupt. 2 years ago, this company made an investment in a bona fide working gold mine, the Skull Canyon Mine. That's just outside Twin Buttes, Arizona.
I see.
I said don't interrupt. That's just over the border from Nogales, Mexico. Now, up until 3 months ago, everything was fine. The profits shown by the mine were good, and then suddenly, our returns dropped 50%. However, operating expenses, man-hours, and so on remain the same, indicating there's been no fall-off in the removal of high SAR. Now, there's something wrong. We want you to go down there and find out what it is.
Expense account, item 2. $12.80. I decided that since you'd invited yourself to the table, dinner at the Blue Danube was on you. Oh, in case you're interested in what you didn't have, it was that liver dumpling soup, veal paprikash, cherry strudel, and a small coffee. Enjoyed with that case I was working on. An eccentric millionairess who wanted to marry me for her money. She had yes, yes in her eyes, but when I told her I had to say goodnight immediately, she said,
"Oh, no."
Expense account, item 3. $120. Burns Lee Flying Service. Charter plane to Twin Buttes, where I checked into the Waterfield Hotel, called the mine, and told the girl who answered that I wanted transportation out there. She said she'd come after me. Having seen too many Western movies, I figured she'd arrive in a buckboard, but instead she picked me up in a Jeep. Hey, slow down, will you? Before my teeth start falling out.
Oh, sorry. I forgot you were tenderfoot.
That's not where I'm tender. Oh. By the way, Miss Moreland, how far is it out to the mine?
23 miles?
Oh, no. Is the road like this all the way?
Oh, no. About another half mile out of town, there isn't any road at all.
Oh, if I ever live through this. From now on, I'm taking my bumps in a burlesque theater. Oh.
Much better than walking, mister. Say, you said you're out here representing the owners. What's your job?
Well, I'm an efficiency expert.
Oh.
Speaking of efficiency, what's your first name?
Jackie?
Oh, well, in that case, mine should be Gwendolyn. But it's not. It's Johnny.
Well, let's not bother shaking hands on it, pal. Here comes the end of the road.
Oh. The scenery was jumping around like a home movie. My teeth were trying to find out how much abuse my uppers would take from my lowers. I felt like I was gradually being hammered down from a tall, thin man into a short, round one. And there I was, caught without my rhinestone-studded motorcycle belt.
Well, here you are. Want me to help you out?
Oh, very funny. Go away. Get lost, you little monster. I'll admit I look like a bag of bones, but I'm too young to die. Go on, now beat it.
Oh, be a good dog now. Lie down, Nugget. Down.
Yeah, Nugget, drop dead. This the mine office?
This is it.
Well, Dollar, welcome to Skull Canyon. I'm Doyle, the manager out here.
I'd be happier to meet you if I met you in town.
Mr. Dollar's in a foul mood, Jeff. That ride was a little too much for him.
That ride would have been a little bit too much for Buffalo Bill.
Well, that's how Jackie keeps that figure as trim as she does. Now, come on inside, Dollar. That's where the books are, and that's where the chairs are.
With cushions, I hope.
I'll see you guys.
Yeah, right.
Sit down.
Thanks. Oh. Oh.
Well, there you are. You'll find all the figures right in that big, fat book. All but Jackie's.
Well, I'm not in any hurry to do my arithmetic. Tell me, what do you think of the results around here? You know more about it than I do. How are things going?
Well, Dollar, I'll tell you, it was going better than it is right now. But just a few months back, we worked out a pay vein. I'm hoping we'll pick it up again any day now.
That sounds reasonable. Any trouble? Help, equipment, working conditions?
Well, working conditions could be a lot better, but that's a geographical problem. You see, the mine is located here, and the big water supply is 8 miles west. We haul the ore across the desert by mule train to the smelter. It's cheaper than trucks. We'd have to build a road for them. Out here, hay is cheaper than gasoline. You'd like to take a look at the mine?
Frankly, Mr. Doyle, I'd just as soon climb up a chimney. I hate dark, confined spaces. But since it's part of my job, I might as well get it over with. The entrance into the mine was through an adit, a horizontal shaft into the side of a hill. We rode in on the tail end of a small red dynamite car, drawn by a donkey, junior grade, a burro. It was cooler in there, but I started to sweat the minute we left sunlight and fresh air behind us. I could hear the jackhammers nibbling little gold earbobs out of the quartz rock for the Christmas tree. Then I heard them stop, and Doyle told me why.
Sounds like they're about ready to blast.
Oh, great.
So open your mouth and cover your eyes.
150 yards deeper into the earth, I was beginning to think that mankind is mighty hard to satisfy. The Lord gave us the world's whole surface. Then we had to go and invent gold mines and airplanes. And right then, I'd have settled for an airplane.
Oh, what's the matter, Dollar? You look a little green.
Oh, I feel a little green.
Well, look, take some deep breaths and hold them as long as you can.
Okay.
Yeah, there, that'll perk you up. Well, this is it. Right here is the only face we're working.
It doesn't help. So this is it, huh? Well, let's see the rest of it.
What? I told you, this is it. This is the only face we're working. Okay, you guys. Keep it moving. Load that ore. Fill them up. Come on, bend your back. Well, let's get out of here, Dollar.
Okay, Doyle. I've seen what I came to see. And I also figured I had heard what I came to hear. Dinner that night I had with Doyle and Jackie, and the steak they served gave me a rough idea of what they did with their old burros. Doyle's attitude gave me a rough idea that maybe he'd seen my eyes light up when I heard those jackhammers snorting away in some other part of the mine, just after he had told me that where we were standing was the only place being worked. After dinner, Doyle went back to the mine, leaving me alone with Jackie, which was better than dessert. By the way, Jackie, just what's your job out here?
Oh, I'm just sort of a secretary and bookkeeper and jeep driver.
Uh-huh. How'd you happen to land here in Skull Canyon?
Well, I took the job because I was going to marry the man who was the manager then, Doyle's old boss. I met him in college. He was a mining engineer. His name was Larry Hodges.
Oh, what happened?
I was left at the altar. When I got out here, he was gone. Guess he got stage fright and changed his mind. Anyway, nobody's heard from him since. Least of all me. Come on, I'll show you where you sleep.
It was a real romantic night. Old Nugget the dog was carrying on a long-distance conversation with his country cousins, the coyotes up in the hills. The air was soft and warm, and so was Jackie's arm. Stars hung low. And so did my spirits when she bid me goodnight after she introduced me to my roommate.
Hiya, Sonny.
An old mule skinner named Kangaroo.
Make yourself comfortable.
Oh, a fat chance.
Well, better than a sand bed and a saddle pillar.
Oh. Say, for a pine shack, this has a mighty fancy floor. What is it, mahogany?
Nope, tobacco juice. Wait. Helps keep out the sidewinders.
What do you mean, helps?
Little snake critters crawl in out of the hot sun to get cool. Where are you from, Sonny?
Hartford, Connecticut.
Well, I'll be turned too. I don't reckon it shows through, but I'm a Easterner myself. I'm out from New York State 53 years ago. Little town of Prattville. County seat it was.
That's pretty dull.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. Say, are you the one that handles the mules on the run out to the smelter?
I'm one of them.
Well, how's chances of hitching a ride with you in the morning?
You'll have to get up early.
All right, then. I'll get up early.
Well, then stop wasting your breath on a lot of dang fool words. Use some of it on the kerosene lamp. Quick! Night.
I lay awake, thinking about that jackhammer I'd heard working the supposedly inactive end of the Skull Canyon mine earlier that day. This didn't take too much pounding into my skull before I decided that Doyle was working on a vein for his own personal profit. I also knew that for him to convert the ore into gold, he had to get it to a smelter. So I figured that the mule skinner, Kangaroo, was the best place to start asking questions. It's funny how a sleepless night can sour the beauty of a desert sunrise.
Hey, you train! Come on there, you big! Hey, Frankie! Move it, Monroe! You train!
Oh, this I don't believe.
Since that dang record come out, I had to rename all my mules. Hey, get up there! Hiya! Yee-hoo! Dang fool song anyway. Now I'll get you feeling self-conscious just doing my everyday job. Say, see that big rock up ahead? Near the mouth of that little itty-bitty side canyon?
Yeah, I see it.
That's Halfway Rock. Means we're halfway to where we're going.
I'm sorry it isn't all the way, Rock. I wish we'd get there. The sun's getting awful hot.
Why, it ain't nothing, Sonny. Some days that old sun's got your tongue hanging out your fur. Gets a real nice tan.
How do you stand it? Hey, what's that stomach pump doing way out here?
Stomach pump? What in tarnation are you talking about?
That's a clever name for a light airplane. Hey, looks like he's getting ready to give us a buzz.
Hey, mules! Hey, you, Monroe! Steady, blast you, steady! Monroe! Doggone it, he's the loudest mouth ding-ding old mule I ever did hear.
Hey, here he comes.
Ho, ho there, ho! Ho, steady, steady, steady,
First thing I learned was if you ever want to panic a team of mules, just buzz them with an airplane. The second thing I learned was that little canyon we were approaching was loaded with armed horsemen who came galloping out like they were trying to make history at Tan Foran. The gunman didn't do anything to me except hold me at bay, while the plane picked itself a landing and disgorged its one-man air force.
Buenos dias, amigos. You don't look happy to see me. Maybe my friends scared you with their guns, eh? Hey, old man, who is this new boy who ride with you today?
His name's Dollar.
Right now, I wish it was Hopalong Cassidy.
Well, let me introduce myself. They calls me El Puerco. That's because I look like a pig. But Maybe it is because I'm so greedy, too. I want what you got with you.
Why, Galdern, your miserable sunbaked hide.
Now, take it easy, old-timer. It's okay. All I've got on me is a wristwatch and a few bucks. Let them have them. And besides, what's he going to do with a wagon load of unrefined gold ore?
You talk like a little boy. I know what you have with you, and I know where it is. It's under the seat. Little white bags. $30,000 of pure gold.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of Johnny Dollar. But first, hardly a clue to start on, and the witnesses' stories at hopeless variance. That was the job that the Birmingham, Alabama police faced in the murder called the Case of the Hue and Cry. Later tonight on Gangbusters, Birmingham's own police chief comes to CBS to tell you how they tracked down the apparently unmotivated murder. Be sure to hear this true-to-life police story, reenacted on Gangbusters. Gangbusters and the Adventures of Philip Marlowe are regular Saturday night features on most of these same CBS stations. Now, with our star, Charles Russell, we return to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar.
So there I was, Johnny Dollar, efficiency expert. I had efficiently gotten myself in trouble. I was efficiently letting El Puerco walk off with a large part of your gold, and stood a good chance of efficiently getting myself shot in the belly.
There we are, amigos. I feel better now the gold is in my little aeroplane. I hope you're not mad with me. You know, I need the money to pay my taxes.
Okay, you got what you wanted. Why don't you take off and get out of here?
That ding-dang rascal. He's probably figured on shooting us.
Oh, no, old man. I'm a very scientific bandido. You think I want to shoot you and get killed myself for murder? Oh, no. I let your mules do the dirty work. Hey, Manuel, Pedro, Juanito, here, adelante. Take these men and tie them up. Tie them to the stake back to back. And the rest of you tie up the mules in a circle around them, in nice and close. Then I will get in my little aeroplane and dive on the mules. And the mules will kick their heads off.
Pitching horseshoes may be fun, but not when they're being pitched at your head by a mule. Once we were tied back to back on the stake, the nearest available technical advisor, Kangaroo, was anything but encouraging.
That's the trouble with a gold-darn mule. When they get riled up, they think with their feet. Here he comes. Oh, hey, oh, there, ho, you mule, ho. Ah, there. I guess we showed him.
Yeah.
I ain't scunned mules 40 years for nothing. I can handle them.
Oh, nice going, Kangaroo.
Now, listen, Sonny, I got me idea.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, go something like this.
Hey!
Oh!
Just as the idea, whatever it was, hit Kangaroo, a hoof from one of the mules scored a ringer around my cranium. Ah, the stars looked beautiful. They came out in the shape of a horseshoe. And as I slipped into that familiar Betty Bye for private eyes, the world of hit-on-the-head darkness, I could hear Kangaroo's advice, too little and too late.
There, you see? You can never trust a mule. Never trust a mule. Never trust a mule. Never trust...
A long time later, the curtains of my eyelids went up on the next act. But something was wrong. The stage was still dark. The stars were still there, but not in a horseshoe pattern. I closed my eyes and dreamed some more. I was lying near an oasis in the Sahara Desert, and a beautiful maiden was bending over me, kissing me. She was breathing hard, and she could have used some sense then. Huh? What? Nugget, get away from me, you mangy cur.
Nugget, get away from him. Oh, Johnny, you frightened
Huh?
her.
What? Jackie. Oh, what are you doing out here?
Well, take it easy, pal. It's a darn good thing I am out here. You getting yourself kicked in the head.
Let's just say the wrong end of a horse got mixed up with the wrong end of a mule. Hey, where's Kangaroo? Where are the mules? What's going on?
Johnny, relax. Kangaroo and the mules are on their way back to the mine.
Oh, where's Pancho Tortilla?
Who?
There was a Mexican bandit out here, the greatest piece of typecasting since the Gutenberg Bible.
Oh, El Puerco.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kangaroo told me about him. Come on now. Try to get up. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, what happened to you? Your clothes are all torn.
Yeah. This is Mr. Doyle's idea of a proposal of marriage. We were supposed to fly off together to South America tonight. Been planning it for a long time.
Well, what made you change your mind?
Oh, you know how it is. Best laid plans of mice and men.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to an expert. If everything went all right for me, where would I be next week? Same time, same station. But what's your angle?
I told you before. I came out to Skull Canyon to marry a man. I've reason to believe that Doyle did away with him to get his job so he could milk the mine. Well, I stayed on and acted just interested enough in Doyle to get him nice and relaxed, hoping he'd spill something. Well, so far all it's been is bragging up life in South America with him.
Oh.
Now, I hope you can help me. And I know I can help you.
How?
Well, Doyle set up a refining layout right in the mine. When the gold he's been stealing comes out, it's pure gold.
Aha. Then somebody in the mine must have tipped off El Puerco.
Mm-hmm, Doyle did.
Oh.
He and El Puerco are working together. El Puerco's job was to get the gold across the border and you out of the way.
I see. Well, listen, you ever been in the mine? I mean, could you show me the way of the refining layout?
Oh, no. Doyle's never let me inside.
Well, how about the charts of the mine?
They're in the safe. I've got the combination. If we can just get in without Doyle seeing me, I can get him.
Now, leave that to me. Come on, let's get going. Wait a minute. How do we get back?
Well, I came out in the Jeep.
Oh, my aching head. This is close enough, Star Eyes. We better pull up right here.
All right. Nugget, quiet.
Say, the wedding may be off, but it sounds like the reception is still on.
No, that's the regular Saturday night square dance.
Oh. Well, look, from here, which way is the office? I'm lost.
It's right over here.
Oh.
Come on, I'll show you. You were in it yesterday.
When we rounded the corner of the office building, my heart was doing a dozy-do.
Oh!
The door of the safe was open, and so was the mouth of the fellow in front of us. But he wasn't saying anything. He was lying on the floor, dead. El Puerco, the pig. Oh, what a spot for a big red apple.
Johnny, he's dead. He must have come back for something. Kangaroo must have caught up with him.
Whoever caught up with him, but good. Come on, let's go take a look for Kangaroo.
Wait.
Yeah.
Careful, darling. Door may be in there.
Boy, tight spots really give that word darling a good workout, don't they? Okay, darling. Wait out here. I'll be careful. Say, partner, you seen Kangaroo around here?
Kangaroo?
Yeah.
Well, sure. Kangaroo came in here looking for Doyle.
Well, did you find him?
Well, don't know. Doyle went over to the mine.
Is that where Kangaroo went?
Well, if I was looking for Doyle, that's where I'd go.
Thank you, Bottleneck. I don't know why I was in such a hurry heading straight into trouble. But the trouble started popping before we got to it.
Oh, poor Kangaroo.
Jackie was only guessing, but I could only hope she wasn't guessing right.
Johnny.
Hmm?
Johnny, I thought I saw something flashing just inside.
Probably somebody's last spark of life. Now, take it easy. You stay right here. I'll move in from the side of the entrance.
No, I don't... All right. Be careful.
Oh, he sure got you good, partner. Okay, Jackie, you can relax. The right man got it, your playman. Mr. Doyle.
Oh, Johnny.
Johnny, it's awful, but what a relief.
Hey, Kangaroo, you can come on now. Everything's all right. It's us, Jackie and Dollar.
Anyway, don't make a move or I'll shoot you down.
Hey, what the...
Harry!
Stay where you are.
Larry, you mean the guy you thought was dead? The guy you were supposed to marry?
Yes. Oh, Larry. Larry died.
I'll kill you.
No. Oh, Larry. Larry, what's happened to you?
I'll kill you. All right. Oh.
Come on, kid. It wasn't worth waiting for anyway. Oh, well, Kangaroo, I'm glad your first interest was feeding your mules so that you didn't get mixed up in all that shooting.
Yep. Poor. Well, I'll tell you. When three bad eggs like Hodges and Doyle and El Puerco get together double-crossing each other, they all gotta wind up in the omelet. Dead. Sure feels good to get your boots off. That Larry feller thought he was pretty smart, holding up in that mine with his own private smelter, using Doyle for a front. The only thing was he didn't figure on Doyle falling in love with his woman.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Say, for a young fella, you sure talk a lot. How about using some of that breath you're wasting on that kerosene lamp, huh? Pwah! Right.
Expense account, item 4, $6.10. 1 quart snake bite medicine, 32 ounces of prevention in case a snake should bite me. Item 5, $3.40, with which I purchased the nicest gift I could think of for a gal in Jackie Moreland's position. A telegram to you, requesting that you give her a job she very much deserved, the managership of the Skull Canyon mine. You see, when she first found out that man she was going to marry didn't love her, she took out her affection on the territory, which makes me very sorry that I wasn't born in the state of Arizona. Expense account, item 6, $164.35. Transportation, Twin Buttes to Hartford. Expense account total, $947.99, which makes just about as much sense as you can make without making it a dollar. Signed, yours, no charge for that double talk, truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes and stars Charles Russell. Script by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd. Featured in the cast were Doris Singleton, John Daner, Willard Waterman, Fred Howard, and Don Diamond. The special music is written and conducted by Leith Stevens. Your announcer is Paul Masterson. Be sure to be with us at this same time next week when another unusual expense account is handed in by
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Music Popular and Music Western are on the bill for CBS listeners again tonight. Vaughn Monroe and his band will present the 5 top tunes of the week, plus Army and Navy marching songs, Anchors Away, On Brave Old Army Team, and many others. Gene Autry follows right on the heels of Vaughn's Caravan with favorites straight from the land of sagebrush and 6 guns. For an hour of wonderful music, hear Vaughn Monroe's Caravan and the Gene Autry Show tonight and every Saturday on most of these same CBS stations. Stay tuned now for Vaughn Monroe's Caravan, which follows immediately on most of these stations. This is CBS, where yours truly, Johnny Dollar, meets adventure every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This case looked refreshing at first. It took me to Milwaukee, the brewing capital of the USA. But it occurred to me later, for a guy who appreciates a good head on a glass of beer, I take lousy care of my own.
This is another in the adventures of America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar, starring Charles Russell. At Insurance Investigation, Johnny Dollar is only an expert. At making out his expense account, he's an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. To Home Office, Ambassador Life and Casualty Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Attention, Franklin Haley, General Manager. The following is an accounting of my expenditures during my assignment as bodyguard to your policyholder, Ann Connelly. Or it may have been love at first sight, but the last sight was down the barrel of a .45 automatic. Expense account, item 1, $2.95. One copy of The Case of the Playful Siamese, a novel of detection and suspense. It was a story about a private eye named Dexter Payne. But before I could learn whether poor Dexter was dead or alive at the end of chapter 1, the phone rang, and there you were, Mr. Haley, telling me I had to leave for Milwaukee on the next plane. So I returned the book to the lending library, bought a copy of my own, and came to your office to find out what my assignment was all about.
Come in, Dollar. Come in.
Thank you. How are you, Mr. Haley?
Fine, my boy, fine. Glad to see you again. Now, sit down.
Thank you.
Adding to your store of knowledge, I see. What are you reading?
The Case of the Playful Siamese.
Bah, crime fiction, trash. When there's good literature available, why waste your time on such mediocre drivel?
What do you think you're playing, Noel Coward?
Millions of dollars taken in on it every year.
What's the difference so long as you're not taking in?
Oh, you bet they'll not get a penny from me.
Oh, yes, they will.
Huh? What's that?
Oh, I said Will Shakespeare. You know, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, crime fiction.
No comparison. That's different. Anybody knows that. Well, I guess we'd better get down to business. Your plane leaves in an hour and a half, 6:30.
This girl who needs a bodyguard, who is she, and what's she afraid of?
It's a sad, tragic case. The result of a misdirected, surely not faultless life, but nevertheless a situation that demands outside help.
Oh, there now. Don't go to pieces. All I asked was what's her name and what's she afraid of?
Her name is Ann Connelly. 6 years ago, she had the misfortune to fall in love with a man named Neil Grafter, a man of violent passions, jealousy, and so on. He misrepresented himself to her. He plied her with luxuries. And then, practically on the eve of their wedding, he was arrested for grand theft.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think I can ad-lib the rest. While he was in prison, she didn't get tired of the luxuries he'd given her, but she did get tired of waiting for him.
Well, he had lied to her, and 5 years is a long time.
True.
The point is, Grafter's coming out on parole today, and Miss Connelly is terrified at the prospects of her first meeting with him. His violence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He once threatened to kill her if she so much as looked at another man. We want you with her when Grafter arrives.
Well, why me? Aren't there bodyguards for hire in Milwaukee?
Well, we hold a large paid-up policy on her life, and we want her protected. Besides, she's practically penniless. She couldn't even afford to hire a private detective. You know, it's a tragic case. And then, on the other hand, possibly all her fears are imaginary. Perhaps nothing will happen at all.
Look, Mr. Haley, you can count on one thing. If I'm mixed up in it, something will happen. Expense account, item 2, $55.10. Airfare, Hartford to Milwaukee. I switched on my reading light, settled back in my reclining seat, and once more buried my nose in the Case of the Playful Siamese. I should have buried the book. It turned out that Dexter Payne had lived through chapter 1, and he really started to live in chapters 2 and 3. A beautiful blonde in a slinky negligee had just made herself comfortable on Dexter's lap, and guess what happened? A fuse on the plane blew, my reading light went out, and I spent the rest of the flight in a dark cabin in a black mood. Expense account, item 3, $2.50. Cab fare, airport to the address of Ann Connelly.
which, for a girl who couldn't afford a detective, was quite a hunk of a dress. Unless she was living on Friends.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In case you are looking for Miss Connelly, she is not here. In fact, she has went out for the entire evening.
Oh? Well, I think she's expecting me. At least she sent for me.
She sent for you?
Yeah, I'm Johnny Dollar from the insurance company.
Oh, how dense of me. She did mention in passing that a detective would show up. Step inside, please.
Thanks.
Just hang up your coat and things.
All right.
She wishes you to remain until she comes home, which could be any time after the joints close up.
Yeah, sure.
And, in the meantime, I have been instructed to see that you are comfortable. So, what would you care for, a straight slug or a highball?
Well, a highball would be fine.
Step this way, please.
Yeah.
Oh, the floor's waxed, so watch that throw rug if you don't wish to land on your ear.
Okay, thanks. Hey, it's a nice place. Do you own it?
Most decidedly not. To me, it is a sweatshop. I am Cora. I am Miss Connelly's personal maid.
Personal maid?
I agree that I do not look the type. I only accepted the position because I was on my uppers. My regular racket is specialty dancing. Please be seated.
Thanks. Cora, if I may call you Cora?
Oh, please do.
Cora, as I understand it, Miss Connelly needed a bodyguard, but she couldn't afford to hire one. So she asked the insurance company that holds a policy on her life to supply one. Well, that's me. And now I find out she lives in a house on the right side of the tracks and has a personal maid. I'm confused.
Listen, Mr. Dollar. It is my opinion that preventive measures should start at home, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
In other words, she needs a bodyguard like I need a foster mother.
What do you mean by that?
From what I have saw, she has more men hanging around to protect her than Princess Margaret. You know, if they were divided into a line in a backfield, they could walk over Notre Dame. Especially a handsome specimen named Ray Merrick, whom she is dating tonight.
Well, what about this guy who's coming out on parole?
Pardon me?
Neil Grafter. While he was cooling his heels in prison, she was cooling her love for him. And she's afraid of what will happen when she tells him.
This is news to me. Of course, I have been in Miss Connelly's employ only a few days, but I have not heard mentioned any kind of a grifter or a stir bum in her past. Now, as regards to your highball, would you care for scotch, bourbon, brandy, soda, or plain water?
Make it scotch, soda, and no ice. Hey, Cora, if you don't mind a compliment, that outfit you're wearing, naked sandals, quilted skirt, and that sweater, make you look less like a personal maid and more like a personal friend of Errol Flynn's.
I should live so long, but I thank you for your appreciation. It's part of my condition here that I am allowed access to Miss Connelly's wardrobe. Except for, here, we're the same size. Here's your scotch end.
Thanks.
And, if there's anything else that would add to your comfort while you wait, name it.
All I need now is an easy chair and a lamp. I'll get back to the case of the playful Siamese.
Pardon me?
So there I was, Johnny Dollar, with Johnny Walker in one hand, Dexter Payne in the other, and a few questions simmering in my mind. They really boiled down to one. Namely, what was I doing there? Oh, well. In Chapter 5, Dexter finally found a clue. Yeah, I wish things would work out as easily for me sometime. I was just turning to Chapter 6, when guess what happened? Ann Connelly came home.
Come on in, darling. Have a nightcap before you go home.
I'm in. The first thing I noticed about Miss Connelly, after the size of her escort, was that there was more similarity between her and Cora than just body measurements. Their hair was the same shade of brown, and at first glance, at least, even their features were the same. Then she saw me.
Oh, you startled me. But you must be Mr. Dollar from the insurance company.
Check.
This is Mr. Merrick, my lawyer, and my friend, Mr. Dollar.
How are you?
How do you do?
I hope you've been comfortable.
Thanks, I have. Too comfortable. Usually when I'm sent to guard a body, the body is there to guard, not out on the town until 2:30 in the morning.
Well, of all the...
Now, wait a minute, honey. We thought it was a smart move, Dollar, to get Ann out of the house and keep her out of it until you got here.
All right, Mr. Merrick, while you're in the mood to answer questions, maybe you'll tell me why with a layout like this and a personal maid, did Miss Connelly turn herself into a charity case? Why didn't she hire a local muscle man?
That is none of your business, and if you don't like your work, go back to Hartford now. Go back tonight. Go.
And, darling, hold your temper. Now, you'll have to
inconsequential
forgive Miss
tin
Connelly.
star.
Dollar, her nerves are on edge. You can understand that. Dollar, the fact is that she couldn't afford to hire protection. A, because her funds are low at the moment. B, because there's no telling how long she'll need protection. There's no way of knowing when Grafter will show up. Does that answer your question?
I had planned a winter in Bermuda. I hope Grafter makes up his mind before the thaw sets in.
I only hope you're as sure of yourself as you sound, Mr. Dollar.
I try to be.
Well, I think I'll skip that drink, Ann, now that you're in safe hands. I think I'll go home, get some sleep.
Of course, Ray, if you think it's all right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, I'll call you in the morning. Dollar.
Yeah?
If there's trouble tonight, Ann has my phone number.
Oh, thanks very much. But I'd rather have a baseball bat. I learned early in my career that an excellent way to court disaster is to wait for trouble because it usually sneaks up behind you. But it was too late then to go looking for it, so I made the rounds of the house, checking the locks on doors and windows. Then I turned off the lights and hunched myself up on a couch that would have tested the stoicism of a bed of nails type Indian faker and tried to stay awake. I wondered about Dexter Payne. I wondered if the playful Siamese was a cat or somebody from Siam. And I just about made up my mind to duck into the closet with my trusty Ronson and read until the fluid ran out. And guess what happened? A door closed quietly, and a white-robed figure floated toward me.
Dollar. Pardon the intrusion of your privacy, but there are certain things I'd like to hash over with you in secret.
Oh, wait till I see if I can straighten my back, Cora, and I'll make room for you on the couch.
Many thanks.
All right.
I hope you don't mind my state of attire, but I didn't bother with the robe in case the noise of the closet door might waken Miss Connelly. That double-talking nail.
Oh, here, I'll put my jacket on your shoulders.
Thanks, but I can only stay a minute. Listen, Johnny. You may think me meddlesome, since it's none of my affair, but I couldn't help but overhear. And them two were feeding you a line of downright untruths earlier in the PM.
Well, this is the best news I've had since I got here. Give me more.
It was in regard to Miss Connelly's financial standing. I happen to know that dame is as solvent as the state of Wisconsin.
Well, on that I haven't read up.
She's fat, and I'm not casting aspersions on my own figure.
Oh, please don't. How'd you find this out, Cora?
It is not that I make a habit of putting my nose where it does not belong. But when I see a book lying open, I can't keep my eyes away.
Yeah, I know just how you feel.
Well, in this case, it happened to be her bank book. And with that balance, she could afford J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah. Why are you telling me all this? Have you got something against her?
Mr. Dollar, if you are casting aspersions upon my honesty...
It's only a faint suspicion, but you could be trying to talk me into leaving the case and leaving Miss Connelly unprotected.
Well, I am thoroughly disappointed. A fine lot of thanks after I braved possible pneumonia.
Oh, Cora.
It so happens that I told you because I am a strong believer that it is decidedly crummy for anyone to take advantage of their fellow man.
Now, look, Cora.
But from now on, you can take a flying leap.
Cora.
If you were dying of thirst, I would... What's that?
As I stumbled across the room and into the pitch-black hallway leading to the bedrooms in the rear of the house, I wondered what Dexter Payne would do in a similar situation. To both Dexter and me, life was just a bowl of uncracked nuts, unopened Chinese fortune cakes, and unanswered questions headed up by Who Shot Whom?
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of Johnny Dollar. But first, The Case of the Paper Stars, a thrilling true story from the police file, starts a 3-week serialization on CBS's Gangbusters tonight. Don't miss the first episode of this story of police on the trail of a gang that terrorized 3 states. Also on CBS tonight, you'll hear the latest adventures of that famous private eye, Philip Marlowe. The Adventures of Philip Marlowe and Gangbusters are regular Saturday night features on most of these same CBS stations.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all. Listen carefully, here's the
Now, with our star, Charles Russell, we return to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar.
Somebody help me!
Anne Connelly's hysterical screams told me the way to her room, but before I got there, a stream of cold night air blowing into the hall through an open door to another bedroom stopped me. The draft was coming from a smashed-out window, and the smell of cordite that came with it meant that this room had been the shooting gallery. The corner of my eye picked up the corner of a white garage just as a king-size shadow of a man crossed it, and I went out after him. I made the garage in a dozen heartbeats. Believe me, the way my heart was going, that was record time. And as I skidded around the corner, an arm about the size of a fire hose came out of the darkness, crooked around my neck, and pulled. Face that loomed up above, and in front of mine was ugly, bearded, and wild-eyed.
So, you're working against me, too.
Let go. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, sure. I'll let go.
Oh, you must be Neil Grafter.
I didn't kill her, did I? Because she wasn't in her bed. Oh, where was she? With you?
No, she wasn't with me. What's the matter with you, anyway? So she went sour on you. Happens every day. They even write songs like Don't Cry Joe about it. Look, you spent enough time in prison to learn not to like it. Why set yourself up to go back for the rest of your life? You were smart enough to get out on parole. Why don't you get smart enough to pull yourself together?
Prison? I don't remember any prison. I forget things sometimes. Oh, but I could ask the doctor. No, not anymore. Who are you? Another one of her men?
Look, Neil, why don't we go someplace where it's more comfortable than this, huh?
What?
Someplace nice and warm, and we'll talk.
Oh, no. No. Everybody tries to play tricks on me. Nice and warm, with bars on the windows, and people making noise all over the place. Well, you're not going to stop me. Nobody is.
Why don't you let me help you then? Come on.
That's what the doctor kept saying. You're a doctor. Well, I don't need any help. I can do it myself.
Now, calm down, Grafter.
With my own hands. Here, I'll show you, doctor. No. Oh. Well, why should I kill you? Don't help me. Just stay away from me.
He went. And what's more, I watched him go. One, I didn't have enough strength to get off the ground. Two, if I'd had the strength, my extreme dislike of being choked to death would have argued me out of going after him. Three, the guy was obviously nuts. When I finally could make it, I staggered back to the house. You can turn on the lights, Miss Connelly. He's gone. No, wait a minute. On second thought, maybe we'd better make sure all the shades are down. He might come back.
Johnny! Your throat. What did the lug do to you?
You might say he saved my life. At least when he got halfway through the job, he changed his mind about killing me.
You talked to Neil?
I tried to, but he didn't understand anything I said. And Miss Connelly, he didn't talk about wardens and paroles, as in prisons. He talked about doctors and barred windows and noisy people, as in mental hospitals.
Do I translate that to mean that he's off his rocker?
Cora, please, go over there and sit down. Will you? I'll get to you later.
Well, palm me. Just pretend I'm elsewhere someplace. After all, it was only my bed that he blasted.
Did you hear that, Miss Connelly?
Yes. Yes, I know it was a horrible thing to do, having Cora sleep in my room. I was half crazy with fear. Why doesn't Ray get here? He promised to hurry.
Maybe we can air some of the linen before he arrives. Instead of being in prison, which was a story I got, Grafter was in a hospital for the criminally insane, nursing a big yen to ventilate your head. Is that right?
Please, Yes. Yes, that's the truth. He escaped a month ago.
A month ago?
Yes. The doctors notified the police here that I was in danger, and they supplied a 24-hour guard for the house. But after a month, they decided Neil had gone someplace else, so they withdrew the guard.
Oh, great. So the only people left who cared more about your fate than they did about mine was your insurance company.
Well, we had to do something, but I didn't have any insurance.
What?
So Ray bought a policy for me, and then we contacted the company.
Aha. Legal blackmail, huh? Which brings to mind a meaty little question. Did you lie to the general manager, Franklin Haley, about where and what Grafter really was? Or did that misplaced con man hoodwink me into this mess?
We told him the truth. I swear we did.
Okay. I hope he lives through my expense account, because that little trick is going to cost him. Expense account, item 4, $43. Breakfast the next morning. Over which I managed to steal a few moments alone with Dexter and his dilemma. In Chapter 7, Dexter finally came upon the corpus delicti. The only sign of life in the place was a Siamese cat playing with a ball of string. But before I could find out how the cat figured into things, the phone rang. Hello?
Mr. Dollar, please.
Yeah, this is Dollar.
Your call to Melbourne State Hospital is ready.
Oh, fine.
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Dr. Dollar here. Who is there, please? I am so busy.
Oh, well, this is Johnny Dollar, Doctor. I'm an insurance investigator.
But I don't want any. I am so busy, please.
Oh, no, Doctor, investigator. I want to talk to you about a patient of yours, Neil Grafter.
Grafter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, the paranoid schizophrenic. Oh, a very interesting case. Complete fragmentation of the mind, total loss of synthesis. But he is no longer here for a while.
Yeah, I know. He was here last night.
What? Oh, what was his condition? Perhaps a state of passive negativism?
All I know about his condition is that it's dangerous. He tried to kill his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Extremely strong obsession.
An extremely strong man. Look, I've been hired to protect this woman. Now, what I want to know is, will he try again?
There is no doubt.
Well, when? Tonight?
I would say tonight. The degree of hallucinatory enmity towards this woman and everybody about her, the depths of his obsession.
Whoa, wait a minute, Doctor, wait a minute. You're way over my head. But you do think he'll be back tonight?
I am positive.
Thank you, Dr. Kildare. And all Dexter has to worry about is a playful Siamese. Waiting for a paranoid killer can be depressing all by itself. But to make it more so, in Milwaukee, the sun went into hiding behind a layer of dark gray clouds about 4 p.m., and it started to snow. It had the mood of Wuthering Heights, with icicles. At 5:30, daylight shut down, the night shift took over. And at 8, after a dinner that nobody dined on, I didn't brush my teeth, I lied in them.
And what kind of protective measures do you propose to make tonight, Dollar?
Oh, none. As far as I'm concerned, this is a night off. Dr. Downer out at the hospital, who knows Grafter better than anyone else, says he won't be back tonight.
Oh, I wish we could be sure of that.
Yeah, so do I. How can he make such a positive statement?
Probably because he's spent his life with people like Grafter. No, I tell you, there's nothing to worry about. Miss Connelly, I want you and Ray to go out, just like you did last night. Cora and I will stay here.
All right, if you think it's the thing to do.
But I'm worried about Cora after what happened to her bed last night. How can we protect her?
It's a little late to worry about that after you set her up. But forget it. Just to make it safe, she won't be in that room. I will. Expense account, item 5, $50. Refreshments. I needed something to bolster my courage, so I ordered it. At 2:30 a.m., things were looking good for Neil Grafter. Ray Merrick and Ann Connelly had returned from their date. Merrick had left. Miss Ann Connelly was trying to sleep in her room. Cora was on the couch in the living room, and there was a rolled-up blanket in her bed to make it look like that's where she was. And me? I was out in the snow, huddled near the incinerator, with an iron poker freezing to my hand, with a good view of the house and a poor outlook on life. Nothing happened till about 4 o'clock. That's when I spotted a familiar-looking big shadow of a man moving across the garage toward the house. I got up, but a flurry of wind-driven snow swept in front of me, and when it had passed, I could still see the window to Cora's room, but I couldn't see the man. Then I heard him at Ann Connelly's window. He started away from the house, and I started toward him. I met him under the clothesline on a flying tackle.
No. Oh, let go of me.
Merrick.
Let me go. Get away from me.
Merrick, but I'll put you away. Well, how do you like that? When an insurance policy enters the picture, you can't even depend on a maniac.
Well, just one more then, to pacify my nerves. They're jumping.
Now, take it easy, Cora. This is a fine time to start falling to pieces.
Oh, why doesn't the doctor get here?
Now, don't worry, he's coming. I've called for an ambulance.
If Miss Connelly kicks off, I will hold him personally responsible.
Now, look, Cora, I appreciate your feeling toward your fellow man, but Miss Connelly made a pigeon out of you. She hired you because you looked like her. She had you parade around in front of those windows wearing her clothes.
I am aware of all those double dealings.
She even had you sleeping in her room where Grafter almost blasted you. Now, what I want to know is why are you so anxious about her recovery?
Because she owes me a week's pay. If this Sawbones doesn't pull her through, I'll sue the city of Milwaukee for my arrears.
Expense account, item 6, $150 for services rendered while I was on the giving end of a blood transfusion, which Ann Connelly needed before she could be moved. One item, at least, that you shouldn't balk at since she is your policyholder. The doctors give her a 50-50 chance to live, but even if the scales tip the other way, I think your money is safe. Because her beneficiary, Ray Merrick, is guilty, among other things, of attempted fraud, since he planned on having Neil Grafter blamed for the shooting he did. Expense account, item 7, 5 cents, newspaper, which reported that the police had returned Grafter to the hospital from which he had escaped. He did come back, as Dr. Kildare said he would, but he was a little late and missed the party. Item 8, $55.10, airfare, Milwaukee to Hartford. Expense account total, oh yeah, Dexter Payne. You know, I never did finish that book. After those cats I'd been jiving with, I couldn't care less about a playful Siamese. Expense account total, $845.30. Signed, yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes and stars Charles Russell. Script by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd. Featured in the cast were Betty Lou Gerson, Sandra Gould, Bill Johnstone, John Daner, Bill Conrad. The special music is written and conducted by Leith Stevens. Your announcer is Bob Stevenson. Be sure to be with us at the same time next week when another unusual expense account is handed in by...
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
A whale of a Christmas present for a few moments brain-scratching. Could be there's $54,000 in the Sing It Again jackpot now, 25,000 of it in cold, hard cash, and the rest in wonderful prizes. By just listening in to Sing It Again tonight, you get a fine pre-Christmas present. Lots of amusing riddles, plenty of good music. And maybe you'll get that $54,000 call from Danny Seymour. Sing It Again is heard for a full hour every Saturday night on most of these same CBS stations. Stay tuned now for the Vaughn Monroe Caravan, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is CBS, where yours truly, Johnny Dollar, meets adventure every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.